Okay, what's up? It's story time with Big Frank. Alright, so I'm poor. I'm not poor, I'm low income. I have a beautiful life with my family, but I'm low income, so I don't always have money. So what do I do being low income when I get bored? You know what I mean? I make sure my rent's paid. I make sure my cable television and my phone's paid. Make sure my utilities are paid. And after that, I have, Wi-Fi, and I have my tablets. But about addiction and recovery, when I'm bored, I smoke cannabis. So if you ever used a hard narcotic, and they're very addictive. So when I was high, I used to come down on marijuana, and that's how I dealt with that addiction of wanting more. I just used to smoke marijuana. So I never had connections or like that. I didn't know people who had hard narcotics. So I lost interest because the stuff I was buying was stepped on and it wasn't no good. So I stopped investing my $50 for a ball here and there. And I just lost interest in hard narcotics, and I fell in love with cannabis. So when I feel like using a hard substance, narcotic, when I feel like using a narcotic, all I do is smoke cannabis, and I fall in love with cannabis, and I let cannabis take over my mind. So when I'm poor, after my rent, after my cable television, and after my phone and Wi-Fi bill are paid, and my food, and I got food in the refrigerator, I usually buy cannabis. Because with cannabis, I could be in a jail cell as long as I have cannabis and my tablet, then I could stay entertained for hours. And I think Wi-Fi, I think they have deals. If you're a low-income community, they have deals for Wi-Fi. But I have Comcast Wi-Fi, and I need my Wi-Fi for my video games, because that's what also I do. Being low income, I try to have first generation video games, or I try to have second generation video games in my retro consoles. So when I feel like using a narcotic, I always smoke marijuana, because that just puts me in the right state of mind. Cannabis won't hurt you. You know what I mean? Another thing to do, if you're trying to stay clean, then drink energy drinks and drink cigarettes. A lot of people like energy drinks and cigarettes, but I prefer marijuana. And I smoke marijuana to get high. So that is like a filler to when you want to use narcotics, to smoke marijuana, because narcotics will kill you. Marijuana will heal you. There's a big difference. Okay, and I used to drink when I was little. I started drinking when I was 16, and it broke my mother's heart when I started using drugs and alcohol and drinking and getting into trouble and breaking into places and getting into fights. But I used to drink a lot. So other than drinking, nowadays I just smoke marijuana. Because liquor, sometimes I get drunk, and I'm not supposed to get drunk. You're only supposed to get a little bit buzzed. Sometimes I'm inappropriate when I'm drunk. So when I feel like drinking alcohol, like I said, I always just smoke cannabis. Because again, I smoke cannabis to get high. If I was in a jail cell, all I need is cannabis and my tablet with my music, and I'd stay entertained for hours. So when you're bored, being low income, like I said, you got to pay your rent, pay your cable, pay your phone, pay your Wi-Fi, pay your food bill, make sure your insurance is all that. And then, don't buy narcotics, don't buy alcohol, buy marijuana, because marijuana is safe. And also, when you get bored, especially being low income, you want to smoke a cigarette. So, other than smoking a cigarette, every time you want to smoke a cigarette, just smoke cannabis. Just smoke cannabis instead. So every time you want a cigarette, smoke cannabis. Smoke a joint. Every time you want to smoke a cigarette, don't smoke a cigarette, smoke a blunt. So you're always smoking cannabis. Because nicotine, narcotics, and alcohol have side effects. And marijuana and cannabis doesn't have any side effects. So when you're bored, you gotta make sure you're paying your rent. When you're low income, gotta make sure you're buying food, gotta make sure you have clothes. But if you have all that stuff, if you have all the essentials, then definitely buy cannabis. But like I said, when I'm bored, being low income, I got cigarettes. I smoke Newports and I smoke off-brand cigarettes. But mostly I roll my own tobacco. And I drink a little bit of alcohol every now and then. But I don't get wasted. I only get buzzed. But alcohol every day can affect you in a negative way and have health side effects. But smoking marijuana every day has no side effects. Smoking nicotine has side effects. Narcotics have side effects. Alcohol has side effects. So when you're poor and low income and you're bored, stay away from those items. Trust in marijuana. When you're going through withdrawal, use marijuana. Because when I was doing that white stuff and I didn't have no more, all I had was marijuana laying around. And I used to just puff away, puff. And I fell in love with marijuana. And I stopped using narcotics. And I kept on using marijuana. I stopped drinking, But like I said, if you're low income, then roll your own cigarettes. Roll your own cigarettes. Make sure you got movies. Make sure you got music. Make sure you got food. Make sure you got clothes. Make sure you got hot water, heat, air conditioning. Make sure you got all the essentials. But then get marijuana. Because when you're bored and there's nothing to do and you're stuck in that little old apartment and you're stuck and there's nothing to do, then marijuana is your friend. You know what I'm saying? And they got special programs to get Wi-Fi. So other than buying drugs and alcohol and nicotine and narcotics, spend your money on rent, cable television, utilities, food, clothing. And definitely, if you ever feel like using narcotics, don't use narcotics because people love you and people care about you and people need you around. Never use narcotics. Just smoke cannabis. When you're bored, low income, just smoke cannabis because cannabis is the best way to stay entertained. It's fun. You can do it with your friends. And trust in God. Be a good person. Always be kind and gentle to everyone you meet and have faith in God.